Good morning, and welcome to episode 1 of a currently unnamed podcast featuring, at the moment, exclusively me because no one knows who I am. I am so overwhelmingly sick of all the negativity everywhere, all the time, every second of every day. We are just fed negative feedback, negative comments, negative opinions, and I'm just done. I'm done listening to it. So, this podcast is a positive space. It is something that I am going to endeavor to continue to create to give you a bit of an uplifting, quick little 10 to 15 minute empowerment session. I don't even know. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here. I'm showing up. And my first topic is actually just toxic judgment. Toxic judgment. And I'm going to talk about something in particular, which is the Louis Vuitton Neverfull. Because currently all over my social media is a bunch of influencers who are trying to tell me, everyone, trying to share, trying to create content around the fact that this is not a luxury item. What a load of crap. You're full of it. My Neverfull. So this is a $5,000 bag. A $5,000 bag. It is not basic. And just because a lot of people have it, it doesn't make it basic. I wanted one of these bags for probably maybe 10 years. For 10 years, I focused on growing myself, growing my career, and bringing myself into a place where I could afford a $5,000 bag without it having a hugely negative impact in my life. Now, I'm not a multimillionaire yet. However, I do appreciate rewarding yourself and enjoying your life based on your own goals and your own targets. This bag not only represents my version of success, but I love it. I love it. I own another Louis Vuitton Alba. I own a YSL bag as well. And I'm in the process of deciding what my next bag is going to be. But I just want to touch on the fact that this bag to me symbolized that I achieved something amazing. And I'm so sick of influencers flocking to Instagram and flocking to podcasts and saying shit like, you're a basic bitch if you buy a Neverfull because everybody owns a Neverfull. I don't care. I don't care. I love my Neverfull, and I am not butthurt or offended over the fact that I own one and it makes me a basic bitch. I don't care. I'll be a basic bitch. I am a basic bitch. If owning a $5,000 bag that I bought in Dubai without batting an eyelid makes me a basic bitch, then I will gladly embody being that basic bitch because I worked hard, I focused on myself, I focused on my money, I focused on my career, and I got to a position of where I could actually do that. And I just want to remind you that you don't have to listen to the toxic negativity out there. All right? If you are proud of your Michael Kors bag, of your Coach bag, of your Louis Vuitton Neverfull, those are astounding accomplishments that you absolutely should be proud of. And you don't need to listen to this crap of people saying that everyone owns one. That's fundamentally not true. And if you own a $5,000 handbag, you are owed a debt of congratulations. And I want this environment to be somewhere that you can look to and remember that you did work hard for that, and to not allow their negative feedback to affect your beliefs on yourself and your pride and the fact that something that you worked for and accomplished is incredible. So I want you to take a minute to have a think to yourself and say, have you ever bought something? I want you to say to yourself, have you ever bought something that felt really important to you? And instead of being celebrated, you felt judged or you felt belittled. And I want you to remember that anyone that says shit like, what a waste of money, I would never spend that much on a bag, everyone has one, they don't. Because ironically, the people who are saying this stuff don't own one or can't own one, or have such high expectations of themselves that they're never actually going to achieve it because they don't celebrate the micro steps. And I want you to understand that what they are really saying to themselves is, I won't allow myself to want that. Because if you don't allow yourself to want it, you don't feel rejection, you don't feel failure, and essentially you're not setting a goal to achieve. And it doesn't matter if it is a $5,000 handbag or a $2,000 pair of shoes or a $100,000 car. At the end of the day, it fundamentally doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you have set a goal for yourself and you take the steps to achieve that. I also own a Range Rover Evoque. I bought it when I was working in my previous job because I was in my car all the time and I wanted a low maintenance car that... I'm going to revert that because the Range Rover is not a low maintenance car. My car has so much attitude. It has more attitude than me. And the ironic thing is it's so fundamentally perfect for me because my car has sass and attitude and it is not low maintenance. Let me rephrase that. I wanted a low maintenance buying process. I wanted a low maintenance servicing process, which that car does have. I wanted something that could fit my job in it, and I wanted a really good Apple CarPlay. Wanted really good Apple CarPlay in the car because my job was always on the phone. And I started my job with a V8 Ute that I bought when I was 21. Absolutely obscene, I know. Very quickly it became apparent that that was not a smart car for driving around all day, every day, for the fuel consumption and the fact that it was a Ute and I couldn't fit anything in the cab. It all had to go into the tray. So I then bought myself a Volkswagen Tiguan. It ticked some of the boxes of my Range Rover because I want you to remember that I wanted my Range Rover from the day I started that job. I do believe that one of the first things I said to my boss at the time when I started was, you don't have to worry about me having kids or having a husband or having any of those things until I drive into this driveway in a Range Rover, because that is my line in the sand. That's my goal. When I get to a place that I can afford a Range Rover, that's when I'm going, okay, I'm going to change my goals now and I'm going to reach for something a little bit different. So my first car was the V8 Ute. My second car was a Volkswagen Tiguan, which was spacious. It was big. It was a SUV. It was easy to drive. It was zippy. It had good CarPlay, not fantastic, but good, because it was secondhand. So it was a little bit older. But it was a great car for the job. I had that for a couple of years. I don't even remember how long I had that car for. So the time span from starting the job with a V8 Ute to buying a Range Rover was about 5 years, just to let you know, to give you some realistic expectations around this. It doesn't happen immediately. So I have my Tiguan, great little car, did everything that I needed it to do. Once it came out of its 5-year warranty, so I think I bought it maybe at a little bit over a secondhand car. And once it hit its warranty zone, it started to get a little bit expensive, which European cars in Australia traditionally do. Things like brake pads wear down really quickly. I had a bit of a coolant issue in the engine as well. I did have to replace the battery, which was kind of annoying. I wouldn't have expected to have to replace a battery that quickly in a newish car, but I did. But yeah, brake pads on European cars in Australia are a big thing. And like I said, I had a bit of a coolant issue with that as well. And when it was within warranty, that was fine because obviously it was covered, it was paid for, it was sorted. When it moved out of warranty, a couple of things popped up and it was just costing about, you know, $1,000 a part, really. And it just became a bit too much for me. So this was round about the time, I think we'd just come out of COVID and our COVID lockdowns, and I went in and I ordered my Range Rover. Now there was a bit of a waiting period with the Range Rovers because of the time of year it was. Now I want you to remember as well, I walked into that lot and the person that greeted me actually treated me like I couldn't afford this car. I walked in and I said, I really want to buy this. It was the Range Rover Evoque. At the time, they were about $86,000 for the base model, and I didn't want the base model. I wanted the black pack. I wanted the speaker upgrade. I wanted the sunroof. I wanted what I wanted. The only thing I didn't get was the red calipers, and I really wish I did. Anyway, moving on. I walked into this car lot, and he dead-ass treated me like I was unimportant because the Range Rover Sports had just come out and like I couldn't afford it anyway. He didn't respond to my emails. He didn't get back to me. He didn't follow up. And I walked in with money like, hey, shut up and take my money. So after about 2 weeks of chasing him and following up, he essentially did say to me that he's got bigger priorities. I'm not even kidding. There's bigger priorities because we've got the Range Rover Sport coming. So he wouldn't take my order because of the new Range Rover Sports. I just want to remind you that this is the exact topic that I wanted to talk about, which is people diminishing what your goals are and taking away that positive energy and that positive light. Because I had worked so hard to be in a position to walk into a lot and be like, hey, I want to buy a Range Rover, here's my money. And he's going, oh, well, you know what? You aren't buying a Range Rover Sports, so you are A, not a priority, and B, you can't really afford it anyway. Look, I was 28. Yeah, I've worked really hard though. So I called the dealership that is about an hour away. And I was like, hey, I want to order this car right now. Can you please do it up and send me the contract? I'll pay the deposit right now. I want to order it ASAP because I knew what getting deliveries at the time was with cars, which there was a shortage of things. I wanted the digital dashboard. I wanted, you know, stuff like that. So I knew that I had to get this order placed. And within probably about 20 minutes, I had a contract to sign in my inbox. Everything was done, my car was ordered, and within a couple of days, I had a delivery time frame and all of those things. And I just want to circle back here because a couple of days after I'd placed the order, paid the deposit, and had all of the information come through that I needed about my car coming, the original salesperson emailed me and he was like, hey, I've caught up on all my orders now. What would you like? And I was like, bro, I've already ordered my car. And he goes, well, why would you do that? Like, I told you that I was busy. And I'm just like, just because I'm not buying a $200,000 car, it doesn't make my $100,000 worth any less. And the fact that you treated someone like they can't afford a car, and like, because the car that they were buying wasn't the $200,000 option, they were unimportant. Like, I'm not giving you my money. I'm not giving you my business. So anyway, I have been back to see that particular person a couple of times because we've been looking at upgrading the Range Rover Evoque eventually. Same treatment. And I just want to, we went in and test drove the Range Rover Sports because we were tossing up between the Nissan Patrol and the Range Rover Sports as a bigger car. And we ended up buying the Nissan Patrol because, to be honest, it was my husband's dream car, and I just was like, whatever, let's just get you your car. So we bought that car, but fundamentally treated exactly the same by this particular person. You can't afford it, you know, not prioritized. And then a year later, we went back to the same car lot and was like, can I have some information about the Velar and the Sports? Because again, The Evoque is a brilliant car. It's a beautiful car. But if you do want to grow a family, it's not the best for more than like one car seat. And in our research, I determined that it wasn't the best car if you were going to have multiple children. So I still own the car. It's still in my garage. I haven't quite decided if I am going to upgrade or get a bigger one as yet, but we're getting there. And essentially, my husband and I, who own both of our cars outright, have consistently proven that we have the capacity and the desire to purchase nice cars. We're still getting treated like we were not a priority and like we couldn't afford it. And the only reason why I keep going back to that car lot is because the closest one is an hour away. But I wanted to share some experiences about how people will try to diminish your accomplishments and try to make you feel small and try to make you feel unimportant. And you cannot tell me that a 32-year-old who owns a Range Rover in cash and has multiple handbags that I have wanted for a very, very, very long time isn't successful simply because it's a Neverfull and it's an Evoque. I don't need a $220,000, I didn't need a $220,000 Range Rover Sports at the time. It was too big for what I wanted. It was just me driving around. Like, what a fundamental waste of money and a car it would have been to buy a Range Rover Sports for the only reason I would have been purchasing it was to big note, to be like, I have a Range Rover Sports, when the Evoque was a better suited car to me at the time. Still right now in my lifestyle is a better suited car than a larger one. And people are just constantly coming in with their negativity and their projections of what they think you should be doing, or they think it's too much, or they think that, what a waste it is to buy that. You are successful whether or not you own the $10,000 handbag or the $200,000 car, or the $40,000 car, because you don't see value in spending $100,000 on a car, because that is perfectly acceptable too. I know exorbitantly successful people who earn more money than you could even comprehend what to do with, and they drive $40,000 cars, because there's nothing wrong with that. I know people who earn that much money and drive $10,000 cars, because at the end of the day, it's up to you as to what you want to do with your money, and it's up to you to decide what is actually success in your eyes, and stick to that path, and don't let the naysayers and the negative chit chat of random people on the internet, or people whose lives you don't aspire to have, get you down and make you feel like your success isn't good because it doesn't fit their narrative. So I really hope that this short podcast helps give you a bit of a positive spin on yourself in the wake of all the negativity that is going on at the moment, particularly in Australia. I'm not going to delve too far into it because this is a positive place, but I really hope that anyone who listens to this just takes a minute to look within themselves, and if there is any comments that you're seeing on social media or within your friends or family circles that are making you doubt yourself and your own accomplishments, to just let that go, because you're not living for them. They're not you. And I just want you to really try and remember that it doesn't matter what your version of success is. It only matters that you're happy with it. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I am going to be making some podcasts like this and sharing some topics like this and creating some structure around this podcast that I don't currently have yet. So bear with me, and thanks for being here.